introduce myself?
Yes.
No, it don't work like that. You gotta ask me what you want them to know.
You gotta introduce yourself. It can be short.
You thought this was gonna be easy? We about to be here all night.
I'm cracking up. Don't get me to cracking up because I'll be goofy.
Yeah, this about to be one of them.
Hey y'all, welcome back to Wind Down Wednesday. It's your girl Malaya J hosting, and I have another guest here today. Introduce yourself.
I am SHAKEL, the one and only Misbehave.
Yes, I'm so excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
It's been forever.
I know.
Like, since I even seen you, talk to you, and we ain't never had a deep conversation like this. So
Absolutely. I'm excited to dive right in.
Yes. All right, so let's dive right into the wine first. All right, so before we get into this wine, let me just let you know something.
Oh, it's called Knock Knock.
Yes.
Ooh.
This was Knock Knock. No, listen, but it's not even like, I don't know, it might be a creeper because I never really like drank a lot of it, but I was disappointed in the flavor.
Really? Is it dry?
Yeah. They're both dry. I'm all out of sweet wines. That's what I was going to let you know.
That's how you feel about me? Real dry.
Listen.
I'm going to be dry for you.
No, you're not.
I'm going to be dry for you.
Because these dry wines is going to sneak up on you. You will be talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, that's what I need.
What you want to start off with, white or red?
Let's do red.
All right. I like red a lot. So, this is not new to y'all. We did a little bit of Knock Knock. I think it was the episode with Juice and Kenzie. I'm not sure, but we were talking about how we were a little bit disappointed in the flavor because it wasn't like, it's not impactful.
Yeah.
It's kind of like bland, but it's smooth. It's really smooth.
Okay, yes. You want to do a taste?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, it smells good.
Don't it?
It smells
That's
real
why I was
good.
like really disappointed when I tasted it. But we had just got done drinking a lot of sweet wine, so I don't know if that could be why. But we're going to see today. We shall see. So we're starting off with the Knock Knock. Cheers. Thanks for coming to the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. Oh, yeah, that's real. It's real bitter.
Is it?
It's real bitter.
I think it tastes a little sweeter than the first time I had it. I'm like, oh, it's not that bad. I like dry though.
You can drink it. It's drinkable, but it's bitter.
You said that's real bitter.
I'm a sweet girl. I
Yeah.
love everything sweet.
I like dry wine. Ain't that
Do
weird?
you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm a sweet girl. I feel like dry wine gives me migraines or headaches sometimes.
See, and that's how I feel about sweet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is. I think it's the sugar. Like, I don't know, but
Yeah.
I don't really love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, today we're going to be talking about love. Again, we're closing out February with you.
The one and only.
Yes, ma'am. So, I want to talk about, like, your overall love experience as far as life goes. You know what I mean? From when you was a child, like, what was your first introduction to love? What did it look like to you till now? What's the difference? You know, I know you're a wife and a mother, so, like, what is the difference between, like, wifey love and mommy love? We want to talk about all that.
Okay.
So, let us know, like, what was your first introduction to love as a kid?
I can't really say as a kid. I don't ever remember, like, receiving love or knowing how to love myself. So that's probably why I wasn't open to receiving love from others. But the first time I felt like I experienced, like, real love or love at first sight was when I had my first daughter.
Oh, yeah?
That's when my perception of love changed. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like I just always wanted it from my dad, you know?
Yeah.
And since I was, like, a mom now, I'm like, oh, man, like, I can pour this into her.
Right.
You know?
Right. And how old was you?
I was 20 when I had my first daughter.
Okay, that's not too young.
Yeah, that's old.
That's not. That's old, girl. I'm about to be 28 and I still don't got no kids.
Girl.
I'm
we're
gonna
young.
be an
We're
old
young.
mom.
No, we're young. We're young. We are young. Don't rush it.
I'm not. Look, I'm not. I'm ready though. I'm getting kind of ready.
Are you? You think so?
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
I'm getting pretty ready. Like, I feel like all the fears that I had before, I'm kind of like over it now. Like, I'm like, oh, well, I could do that.
Yeah, we're getting to that age where we're like super mature now, so we can handle a lot more.
Yeah, like different mindset, different. I feel like my spirit is in a different place to where I can like handle being a role model for someone else.
Absolutely,
you know?
Yep.
So what did I want to touch on? I wanted to say I could relate to, you know how you said being a kid and like not really, you were looking for love from your dad.
Yeah.
And I could relate to that, and I say it all the time when I talk about love on the show. Like, my first love was my mom. You know what I mean? My dad wasn't around as much, like, growing up. Like, he was in and out. He was there when I was young. Then, in, like, the middle ages, like, middle school, high school, he wasn't really around.
Yeah.
So, like, my role model was my mom. And she showed me how to love, but I never saw her, like, love a man before.
Right.
Like, she often tells me she ain't never been in love. So, like, my perception of love as a kid, I think, came from, like, the media. Yeah. Like, movies and loving basketball and, you know.
Right. And, you know, we loved our friends, too.
Yeah.
Because I had really good relationships. And I loved my friends. And I think that's why I loved so hard.
Yeah.
You know, because, like, you're my girl, you know, you're my person, you know what I'm saying? And I just think one thing about me, like, wanting the love from my father, it made me not like men.
Yeah?
Yeah, like, it was hard for me to open up and get close to men, and I think that's why I was attracting the type of men I was attracting, and the relationships weren't really getting me anywhere, because, I wouldn't open up, I wouldn't be transparent, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because my craving for my father to love on me made me shut down when it came to like men, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, do you think that, so I feel like that's pretty common, like, but a lot of the times it'll open women up. Like, sometimes it'll be more
it's
open.
either, exactly, and I was grateful that I got what I got, because I would have hate to have been the person that the men took advantage of, because I wanted a man to love me so bad. You know, it wasn't a man, it was just my father. Right. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I was going to ask you, like, are you happy it went like that instead of the other way?
I'm grateful.
Yeah.
Yep. And me and my father are really, really close right now. So,
that's good.
Yep, I'm super grateful, and it's helping me in all my other relationships in my life that consists of love, you know?
Right. That's really good. Do you feel like it's, like, kind of helping out with your love with your kids as well?
My kids, my husband, my mom, my grandparents, absolutely. Because I feel like, you know, a lot of times when we want things, we're not ready for them, you know? And I might not have been ready for my father, or my father might not have been the person I needed him to be when I was a child. And now we're older. And yeah, I'm grown, and he's older, and he's just exactly what I need right now. Right. Where I am right now, instilling morals and value and stuff in me right now, you know.
Right. That's perfectly said, because I like to tell people, like, my dad is a good dad to an adult. He couldn't really be a good dad to a child.
As a child,
you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm grateful it happened the way it happened, because you learn a lot along the way, you know. For
sure. And you built, like, a type of understanding to where it's like, all right, I get it. You know, we're all human. Like, I had to realize growing up that we're all human. Exactly. Like, I looked at parents like, no, y'all are, like, superhuman. Y'all are perfect. Y'all don't lie. Y'all don't, you know what I mean?
And our perception of everything is going to be completely different, you know?
Absolutely.
I'm going to perceive it this way, but you're going to perceive it like that.
Absolutely. You know? And all we can do is, like, kind of build some type of understanding, you know?
Exactly.
So I understand exactly what you mean, like, being older, being able to understand certain mistakes. Like, he's human. So,
yep.
So how was you able to, like, shift into a space where you met your husband, and what did that love look like for you? Like, how were you open to receiving that?
He chased me down. He chased me, y'all.
That's right.
He would not let up. Like, he would not let up. We met in high school, and we had a class together or whatever, and, like, we were kicking it. We were just cool, you know. Then he went off to college, and we, like, stayed in touch a little bit, and I would see him when he would come home, and then it went from me just seeing him from him coming home when he came home to me, like, going and pick him up and stuff like that. But he didn't let up. Like, he chased me down. When we were in high school, he was, like, buying me stuff and bringing it to school.
Aww.
He bought me school lunch. Like, he bought me lunch every day to school. Like,
that's
ordered
so nice.
it. Yes. So he ain't let up. Like, flowers to my job. I worked at a daycare, and they was like, girl, you better marry him. I'm like, whatever.
He said whatever.
Whatever. He didn't let up.
I know that's right. He must have knew.
He put in work. Yeah, he really did put in work. And he would just always tell me, like, you remind me so much of my mom.
Aww.
And I would be like, that's disgusting. You're attracted to me and I remind you of your mom.
Always.
But then when I like sat down and talked to her and I met her and I realized that she experienced some life things that I experienced and we were just strong women and that's what he meant. You know, you're a strong individual, you're a dominant female and you just remind me of her, you know.
Oh, I love that.
He didn't let up.
Oh, I love that. How long did you work at daycare? Because I used to work at daycares too.
I wasn't there long. I think I was there for like a year, maybe 2.
For real? Did you like it?
That was like my first job. I loved it until I got pregnant.
Oh.
I loved it.
You said that ruined it for you, huh?
I was getting real bad migraines during my pregnancy. And I was like, I cannot deal with these kids and this migraine and this sickness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Screaming kids on top of a screaming kid, your belly. No, I feel it. I worked in daycares for like 10 or 12 years. And I love it. And people always tell me like, yeah, you love it until you have your own kids.
Exactly. I don't know. I might have been there on and off then. Because I know I was working there when I was in high school. And I was there when I got pregnant with Allie. Yeah. So it might have been like I left and came back type of thing.
Yeah. So, back to your husband though. So, like, all right, he was chasing you down and he was consistent. So, like, was there something in you that was like, okay, this is real. Like, he's not faking it. He's not wanting nothing from me. Like, what was the shift for you? It was like, all right, this is my husband.
It was, so when you talk about love, love is an action. You know, I used to tell myself, like, love is just a word until I find someone that give it a meaning. You know, so I can tell you I love you all day. But if I'm not pulling no action or showing up with no action, then you're not going to believe me. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was. It was his actions. You know what I'm saying? He not only told me, but he showed me as well. Right? And I also had a daughter at the time. And I felt like he was a really great role model for her, you know? Yeah. So I think that's what it was as well, you know? He's not in the streets. He's in school trying to do something with himself, like, you know, playing a sport, working. He was doing something. He was out the way, you know. Right. And I genuinely wanted that. I didn't want nobody in the way.
Yeah, I feel that. Especially in a city like Pittsburgh, everybody knows everybody. Like, it don't take much for you to be in the way.
Yeah, and you got to be popping and stuff like that. Like, man, sit me back here.
Right. Like, you're popular enough on your own. Like,
exactly. So it's just like two of the same. Yeah, it wasn't going to work. And then it's like when you're popular and you try to fall back from being popular, it's like you can't unpopular yourself.
Yes. All that does is make people look for you more. Me and Gabby was talking about that. Like, you can kind of like fall back from the internet, and then that's just going to make people be like, well, where's she at?
Where she is and what she been up to.
What's going on?
They wait for you to do stuff, and
finding somebody who's kind of like your equal opposite, you know what I mean? Like, he can meet you where you're at mentally, and like you said, he's not too in the way because you're already popular enough. I feel like that creates like a balance in life, and I feel like that's what everybody needs. Like, a lot of people tend to look for people who are like them, and I feel like that's the wrong thing to do.
I used to think I needed someone who was like me. I used to think it wouldn't work unless I had like a man that was like me, you know what I'm saying? But I'm grateful it's the way it is. And another thing I'm grateful is he's a secure person. With me being a woman that I am and doing what I do, like photo shoots and, you know, stuff like that. He's very secure. So it's like I never have to question any of that, and he never has to question any of that for me. So and you don't find secure men.
I was going to say, that's hard.
Men are controlling. You have to wear clothes all the time. But it's, you know, so I'm very grateful that he is a secure man. Yeah,
because that's very, very hard to find. Like, typically, especially for prettier girls, like, I don't want to sound shallow or nothing, but, like, for prettier girls, the kind of guys that, like, really want those type of girls are men who are insecure with themselves.
Right.
And it's crazy because you would think it would be the opposite. Like, you'll think it's the dude who think he's all that. He's like, I need the baddest chick because I feel like I'm the bad. Like, no. It'd be the opposite. Yeah. Like, typically they want a real pretty girl. They want arm candy because they want to make themselves look better. And in turn, like you said, they'll be really controlling, really afraid, you know, for you to go out because they know how they feel about how beautiful you are. So that's not easy to find.
Yeah, I'm grateful. He's a very secure person. He's not controlling. He don't tell me what I can and can't do, who I can and can't be with, or, any of that, you know. And he's supportive.
That's good.
Super supportive.
And you need that as like an entrepreneur, because I know you own a business, and like being on the internet, having a brand, like, you know, just having to do all the things you got to do as an entrepreneur, plus being a mom, plus you know, being a wife, plus doing all that stuff you got going on, like, you definitely need that support.
Exactly. Because another thing that's common is people get into relationships with people they have to, like, compete with, or, you know, like, it's like a jealousy, an underlying jealousy, and it's like, I'm a woman and you're a man, so how can we be jealous of one another? You know, you stay in your lane and I stay in mine.
Exactly.
But that's another story for another day.
Girl, I'm telling you, like, it's something, it's an experience. Like, I've experienced that myself, like, and at first it'll kind of seem like, okay, I'm just motivating this person, or they want to, like, I'm pushing them to do better, or no, but whole time you turn around and it's a competition, and it's weird. Like,
yeah, it's very weird.
That gets real weird. And it makes you, like, there will be really small things that will be happening that's, like, trying to make you insecure or keep you down low-key, and you don't even realize it until you feel so down, and you're like, oh, my goodness, what is going on? Like, friends, and I'm not talking about just men, like, friends, your surroundings, all types of stuff, family. Like, it's
I'm blessed to have the circle that I have, like, from my man, my friends, the family that I'm associated to today. I'm very blessed for them, because it's like, we don't deal with jealousy or competition. Like, we don't do any of that, and they're all uplifting and motivating, and I just feel like we're all in this place where we're, like, healing ourselves and trying to push ourselves and one another to be better and do better, you know.
That's powerful. I feel like the world is kind of like in a state like that, like, where people are really knowing, like, all right, it's time to pick a side. Like, you know, either I have to heal myself and be positive, get myself around positive people, or there's people who's really just, like, you know, out here pushing negativity. And I think that is definitely awesome and a blessing, you know, that you could surround yourself with those kind of people, even though, you know, we all have a choice. So it's good that you're, like, smart enough to be choosing that for yourself, because that shows how much you love yourself. You know?
Exactly. I agree. I'm just grateful that I just like people that are themselves. So if you want to be a negative Nancy, do that. Just, you know what I'm saying? Don't fake it until you make it. You know, practice what you preach. If you're genuinely trying to heal yourself, don't just be like a spokesperson for it on social media and then behind closed doors, you know, be doing what you're doing. I just like people that are who they are. Like,
absolutely, you know. Because that's the thing, like, social media, we live in a social media age, so, like, labels. Woo! Labels are crazy.
It's everything. It's everything. I just recently heard that people were looking for my ring in my pictures.
For real? Why? That's crazy.
That's how social media got people. So if I'm not wearing my ring, or if I'm not posting pictures.
I didn't even notice till you said that. That's crazy.
If I'm not posting pictures or videos or whatever with my ring on all the time, I guess that means there's trouble in paradise.
And you know what? That it's crazy, because that's how you know you're making something look so good, because people are looking for bad. Like, who goes somewhere and looks for trouble in paradise? Like, that's wild.
I just recently took a trip, and it was a girls' trip, and there was a girl that noticed me and the other girl weren't posting one another. Mind you, I was only friends with one person on the trip. Everyone else I know, though, you know. So I'm posting the one person it was her birthday, so I'm going to post her. Someone messaged someone and asked them, like, hey, I noticed you and SHAKEL aren't posting one another. Do y'all like each other?
Wow.
And I say this to say,
wow,
we're grown, we're women. I know how to coexist. I'm not out here angry, feisty, aggressive. You know what I'm saying? Just because I don't like someone or someone don't like me doesn't mean we're gonna fight when we see each other. You know, not saying she and I don't like one another, but to go out your way and ask someone that. It's just this is how much the internet got people in a chokehold. Just
that's obsessed.
We weren't posting each other. I guess there was a problem with one another. Meanwhile, we done took a flight across the country with one another.
That's obsession. Like, honestly, that's scary, because it's like, why are you? First of all, that means that you're page jumping. You know what I mean? Just to see, like, what's going on. Oh, well, who like who? Let's see who's posting each other. Let's see how they vibing. Like, why are you at home watching how we're vibing?
This is how much social media got people in the chokehold.
But that has to do with self-love. Like, people don't have anything to do.
Mm-hmm. And if you focus on yourself,
yeah,
you wouldn't be worried about what someone else is doing. And another thing I want people to understand is that God is not going to bless you until you focus on you.
Girl, say that again for the people in the back.
God is not going to bless you until you focus on you. You really have to focus on you.
No, for real. Like, literally, I just was having this conversation with somebody talking about how, like, you got to get to a place where you're kind of, like, isolated and you're not worried about other stuff. Like, you're not worried about how other people see you.
Right.
You're not worried about people pleasing. You're not worried about anything. You just got to kind of get to a place of surrender almost. You know what I mean? Where you're like, all right, I need help. Like, what's going on?
What can I do to better me and my circumstances so that my life will change and get better?
Yes.
You know?
And then from there, that's where any journey starts. Like, when you humble yourself enough to realize, like, okay, I need help. You know what I mean? I'm the problem.
I'm the problem. It's not always her and her. You know, if you're getting on the internet, going to certain people's pages to just even bird watch, look for things, look for drama, look for trouble in paradise, you're the problem.
Girl, the problem. To sit there, and then to really go out your way to ask someone because you're trying to stir something up. Like, you're not even giving somebody a chance to enjoy their trip without planting a seed in their head, like, oh, is there something weird going on? You know what I mean? Yeah. That's crazy.
I was just like, we're grown. We're grown, you know. People know how to coexist.
Yeah. Okay. So I kind of want to go back into the ring situation because, like, we're talking about social media and how that kind of is deteriorating people's self-love because people feel like you have to do certain things to meet certain standards that are being shown on the internet. So that's why I want to dive back into the ring situation. And I just want you to explain a little more about that because you're a married woman. And like you said, your man is secure. So, like, if he doesn't have an issue with that, you know what I mean? Where is their issue coming in?
Right. There isn't one. And actually, I just feel like a ring can only symbolize so much. A ring doesn't mean you're happy. A ring doesn't mean you're put up.
Right.
A ring doesn't, it only can secure so much. But like you said, that again falls in the line of how much self-love you have for you. And my time I love for myself to this ring. Right. You know what I'm saying? What's more important, the marriage or the ring?
Right. Or even your love to your husband.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
Exactly. So I personally never ever thought of someone not wearing a ring being like a big issue or there's trouble in paradise. You know, anything could have happened. Things get lost, stolen, broken, people gain weight, lose weight. You know, anything could have happened realistically, but I just think it's absurd to tie so much meaning to a ring. Right. You know, a ring is symbolic. Right. But it's the physical thing. It's something physical. My relationship with my husband is way more important than this physical thing that I'm going to wear on my finger. That does not mean I'm happy at night. That does not mean I am happy in my marriage. That does not mean, it doesn't mean that I'm not happy. But to tie happiness to just a ring is absurd. Because like I said, there's women out here with the biggest rocks on their finger that are very unhappy. That are still getting cheated on and mistreated. And
very mistreated.
You know, so I look past rings. Like I always say, the marriage is more important than anything, than the ring, than the wedding, and so on and so forth, you know?
Yeah, and I'm happy that you have an understanding of that because I feel like that has a lot. It says a lot about your marriage. You know what I mean? Like you said, there's girls out here with huge rocks on their finger. And I feel like that's because those men know that they're material girls. Exactly. Not saying that if you have a big rock, you know what I mean, you're a material girl. But people who are on the internet and, like, on TV and stuff like that, the people that we're trying to measure up to, it's ridiculous because, like you said, they're still getting cheated on. They're still, that marriage doesn't mean anything to that man, but he knew that if he put that big old rock on her finger, she'll have something to flaunt, and she'll be so disconnected and distracted by that big rock that what he got going on don't matter. You know what I mean? So,
and that starts within, because if I loved myself enough, I would know that you genuinely don't love me.
Absolutely.
You're giving me this to shut me up. because I'm going to shut up because this is what I want, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And
I don't
that's
wanna
another
lose
thing.
it.
That's another thing. Some people just want the symbolic things.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people are okay with just having the ring while their men still do whatever they want,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I just personally never been that type of girl. I never
Mm-hmm.
been the, you know, he comes home to me type of woman. You know what
Right,
I mean? Like,
right.
it's never been that with me.
Because it's not for show.
Mm-hmm.
Like, marriage is such a powerful thing, especially, like, you know, if you're a child of God. It's such a powerful thing.
Mm-hmm.
It has nothing to do with show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a, I don't even know what to compare it to. Like, it's not a screenplay. It's not
Right.
entertainment. Like,
Right.
and that's what a lot of people are treating it as now because of social media and couple goals and you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like it's ridiculous. Like you said, just putting that on a ring, putting it on gifts. Oh, my man got me this, got me this purse. My man got me these shoes.
I post less because of that. People will watch you. You know what I'm saying? And the second I did stop posting, like, I would get eggs like, oh, hey, you didn't get nothing for this holiday or that holiday, and it would be like,
people had the audacity to ask you.
mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep. I actually had someone inbox me and ask me, like, I noticed you haven't been wearing a ring.
That's crazy.
And it's just like, you noticed I haven't been wearing my ring, and have you noticed what your husband been doing? You know?
That's what I'm saying.
But this goes back to the part where I said, like, God won't bless you until you focus on yourself. Here, everyone is worried about everyone else or worried about me, per se. When you have your own mess, you have your own drama, you have your own carpet to clean.
Yes.
Y'all keep trying to sweep stuff under the rug. It's just piling up, you know?
Very much.
And, you know, God won't bless you until you focus on you.
Very much, because he know you're not ready for it. Like, you're not even open to receiving anything real because you're too focused on the fake stuff, or you're too focused on, like, the surface.
Right.
So it's like you're not even open to receive any blessings because you're not going to know what to do with it. You're just going to use it as another thing to flaunt. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
Yep, he won't give you nothing you're not ready for.
really, literally. And I just think that's deep, like, especially to feel comfortable. And I don't even want to stay on this too much longer, but to feel comfortable DMing somebody just to ask them about their super person, that's extremely personal.
Yeah.
Like,
and I feel like if you're DMing me, that you shouldn't even feel comfortable. Now, if you got my number and you can call me, you can text me. That's one thing. Like, oh, hey, girl, I'm calling to check up on you. You know? But
like, is everything good?
I have siblings who have parents that have been married for over 20 years, and she's like, you know, my mom and dad never wear their ring.
Yeah.
And they're just as happy as can be.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a self-love thing and what we tie our happiness to. And it's okay to have standards.
Absolutely.
No one wants to get proposed to with a little grain of salt.
Right.
But, you know, after the proposal, we have to live up to these means and these standards, you know. It only means so much if it's not real.
Absolutely. And you got to be ready for it. You have to be ready to be devoted to somebody.
Right.
And that has nothing to do with jewelry.
Right.
I could walk around. I could buy myself a ring and walk around with that and flaunt and have something to post, and I'm still lonely and I still have nobody. So it's just like...
That's like people wear the cross around their neck.
And not knowing Jesus. Have absolutely no idea.
Uh-oh.
That is a really good analogy because, girl, like, that's probably one of the most popular pieces.
Yeah.
But you see in the world, Jesus
Everyone
ain't the
wants
most
to
popular
cross.
person in the world. Like,
Yeah.
that's crazy. But I want to, like, kind of circle back on just, like, you as a woman in your career and, like, that self-love thing and finding balance with having a brand, because I know you have to build a brand, so you have to, like, you know, do what the people want to see and stuff like that. In turn, still living your life and being who you are and finding that balance with loving yourself and making sure that your audience that you're trying to reach also loves you.
Right.
Like, so how do you feel like you keep that balance, or do you ever have trouble with that?
I don't.
You don't?
I do not. There's been plenty of times I fell off the grid on purpose, you know, because when you're in a self-healing journey or just a spiritual warfare itself, you have to go through these phases where you isolate. and you work on you, and you do the dirty work with you,
yes.
you know. And a lot of times people will tell you like, well, you know, we the people need you, or we the audience need you. You need you first.
Exactly.
You know, you can't pour into these people or give these people your all, your whole.
Are you fine?
It's okay. You can't give these people your all or yourself wholly until you're full, you know, until you're complete, until you're whole again.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't. Like I said, there's been plenty of times I fell off the grid. Like, you know, I'm not really selling my stuff now. You know, I'm sitting on so much product.
Right,
you know?
right.
But I know who I am, what I'm capable of, and what I can do, you know. So I know that once I do get started again, it'll be amazing. And I just want to get to a place where I don't have to keep starting and stopping, you know.
Right.
And that,
right.
that again is part of the journey, where you dive right into something and not realizing what it is and what it's going to be and how it's going to be. And it gets tough, you know. Being a businesswoman it's not easy.
Girl.
It's hard.
It is.
Being on top of being a mother and a student and a wife, you know, and then dealing with life problems outside of the relationships I have with people. So it's definitely not easy, but it's doable. You can do it.
Absolutely.
It will get done.
I feel like it just has a lot to do with your focus, you know. And I like that you were transparent enough to say like I don't, you know, because like a lot of people think that it's just as easy said as it's just as easy done as it is said, and it's not. Like, to keep a balance for an audience and keep a balance for yourself, sometimes it's impossible, honestly. But that's what makes it so much more paying to be organic and be yourself, because then you don't have to balance out this and that.
Your audience is going to always be your audience. Your people are going to always love you,
because they love you
because
for you.
You're being real, you're being organic, you're being yourself, you're being authentic.
Absolutely.
They're going to always love you and support you when you mess up, when you don't mess up. You know what I'm saying? The real is going to always ride.
For sure. And that's the truth. Like, swear that's the truth. And I think that has a whole lot to do with, like, real love, too. Because being able to, like you said, people are talking about, oh, well, the people need you. But it's like, I don't have me to give if you don't give me a chance to love myself. Because if I'm not loving myself, I'm not even capable of giving y'all what y'all love. I'm just doing what I think y'all want to see. You know what I mean? I'm not really being me. So, yeah, definitely giving yourself that chance to do that is, like, essential. Alright, so yeah, let's dive into motherhood. I can't really converse about that a lot because I don't have no babies yet, but I'm looking so forward to that love. Everybody says too much genuine love.
It is. I can't explain the feeling I got over myself when I first pushed, like, my first baby out. It was so different. It's something you really cannot explain. It's like a feeling. It's like you feel whole. You feel complete. I felt whole. Aww. I felt complete. I felt like your life ever be like falling apart and coming together at the same time.
Yeah.
I felt like in that moment,
yes,
my life was hell. You know, her father was away. Like in that moment, my life was hell. But none of that mattered because she was here. You know, and I just felt so complete and so whole. And
aww.
I had like separation anxiety.
What, with her?
I didn't want, but kind of all my kids. I didn't like people holding them.
For real?
If you wanted to see them, you had to come to me to see them. I wasn't sending them to you or anything like that. Like, it was real bad, but I'm better now.
That's understandable though, because like, you want to know what I'm afraid of, strangely? I'm afraid of the protective factor. Like, I feel like I'm going to be so protective that it's going to, like, make me worry. Like,
it will. You'll give yourself anxiety because the truth of the matter is we can't protect them from everything. And you can do your all with, like, protecting them and making sure they're surrounded by the right people and doing the right things. But things will always happen. Things are always going to happen.
Life.
Life happens.
You want to grab it?
It's my bed. He don't want nothing either.
You sure? Okay. No, literally, like, so So one thing that kind of helped.
You want to turn it off? Is that going to be in the background?
Just in case. I don't know, but just in case.
People never call me this much in my life.
Right. That's how it be, I swear.
Did you start doing something?
That's her man on Do Not Disturb. Because I'm like, nobody ever wants to be my friend.
Oh, she's ready.
Yeah. I'm like, nobody ever wants to be my friend until I'm in front of this camera, I swear. Mm-hmm. But something that definitely gave me peace with that fear, like with the fear of wanting to protect my kids from everything but none that I can't, is I heard Tabitha Brown say, she was like, you have to come to grips with the fact that, like, your children belong to God. Like, they don't really belong to you. Like, you were a vessel to them. Like, you have them. You are there to protect them and teach them and guide them. But as far as, like, having faith, you got to have faith that they're going to be all right because their actual creator got them. Yeah. And that gave me a lot of peace because that gave me a lot of peace with everything in life. Like, certain things that I would have anxiety. I used to be a control freak. Like, I needed everything to go exactly how I planned, exactly the way I envisioned it, all of that, or else, to me, I failed.
Yeah. My pastor was preaching about that today in church, and he was just saying, basically, like, you have to trust that God will protect you, your children, and your plan. You know, the moment you think, like, all right, I'm going to go out here and do it on my own, or I'm the protector, is the moment, like, it'll fail. Yep. Because, like you said, he got us.
Every time.
He got us. But I think it's just it's human.
Yeah.
It's human to be like,
yeah.
Especially when it comes to kids.
I'm about to say about your babies.
I'm very selective on who my children hang with, family or not. If these are the things that you're instilling into your kid, that's perfectly fine. But I don't want my kid around it. Right. And hopefully you're okay with that.
Right. Absolutely. And I was even in a predicament where I had to understand that before. Yeah. Because, like, I don't have any kids, so I got a bunch of little cousins and stuff like that. And I remember one day I wanted to take my cousin's kids to, what I wanted to take them? I wanted to take them to Sky Zone. And it's 3 of them, so they have 3 little girls, and then I was going to take one of my other cousin's boys, too. And they were just, like, really nervous. They were like, no, because you never know what's going to happen. That's a public place. And at first, I was, like, kind of defensive about it. I'm like, I'm not going to let anything happen to them. Like, I love them, too. Like, I want to give y'all a break, have fun with them. But I had to realize that they were right because it's a public place. There's no way in the world I could control all that. Right. Like, I can control our little space, but it's like I can't do anything about if a mass shooter comes into Sky Zone. Like, what can I do?
You can control everything that's in your control.
Exactly.
Anything out of your control, you can't. And
exactly.
That's why I'm, like, real selective on what I do when I do it. Like, I'm real big on not going to the store by myself with my kids.
Right.
One of us can go to the store and one of us can stay home with the kids if it's all like that. Or we can all go together. That way, because my biggest fear is, like, me putting my kids in the car and someone, like, snatch me up or something. Here I am trying to get your seatbelt across you and I'm getting snatched up, Right. So I'm very selective on the things I do because, like you said, you can only control what's in your control. Anything out of your control is just...
And it's funny because that's instinct you don't have until you're a mother. Like, I personally wouldn't even think about that right now because it's not something that I have to consider on my day-to-day. You know what I mean? So I would understand why somebody with kids will be a little more protective over their kids with me because I'm not a mother. So like you said, like, worrying about going to the store by yourself, like, I won't think anything of that. I'll just be like, oh, we're at the store, we're good. Let's all hold hands, stay close. But like you said, what if sometimes people ain't always after the kids. What if somebody get me? What are the kids going to do? So it's funny how your mind just develops as a mother.
Think about stuff like that. Or just take the bigger kids because they can get in and, do their own seatbelt and stuff like that, But, like, those are things you got to think about when you have kids.
Yeah. It's different. It's different. And I'm, like, scared of that worry because my mom told me one time, she was like, the worry is just something that never, ever goes away. Like, even when you're older, like, until I die, I'm going to worry about y'all. And I'm like, I don't want to be worried forever.
You honestly just got to pray, You just got to pray it away. And I think that you think about it more when things aren't happening. Like, I don't think about that when I'm at the store with my kids, But now that we're sitting here talking about it, that is, like, a fear of mine, So you just have to, like, pray stuff like that, like, pray those feelings and emotions away because it doesn't feel good to feel like that.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like I'm satisfied with where I'm at spiritually now. Like before, I always knew I was like smart, or you know what I mean. Like I probably wouldn't make no like real ignorant or negligent mistakes, but I just wanted to be in a place like with my soul, with my spirit. You know, I wanted to make sure that I was a good enough person and humble enough and having the right guidance, which you know I have now with being a child of God and really following and reading that word and applying it to my life. It's a whole nother ball game than just being a good person.
Right.
You know?
You read it and you apply it.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can't just read it. You can't just be like, oh, I know it, but you're not living up to these, you know, the means and the standards of it. You know what I'm saying? You read it, then you apply it. You practice what you preach.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
So, yep.
And it builds more trust because like I trust God a whole lot more, so I trust myself a whole lot more. Now I feel comfortable having kids. You know what I mean?
It takes a lot of your fears and anxiety away.
Yes.
Naturally, you don't even notice it.
Yes.
It's just like something natural. It just happens just naturally. Like
yes.
Oh, I used to walk around anxious all the time. You know, now
not
I'm
even
just
knowing.
Like, you know, I don't even pay a lot of these things attention that I used to.
Because you know, it's like not as big of a deal as we make it. Like we give power to things.
Yes.
And like once you realize where to put the power, it's like you said, it's just a whole piece. And I want it for everybody. I be telling people all the time, like I just want this for everybody.
Yeah, everyone deserves it.
Yes.
I remember, speaking of, like for my wedding, nothing went as planned.
Yeah.
Not the decorations, I had to switch venues at the last minute.
Mm.
So we had to find a food vendor, provide alcohol, like the week of the wedding.
Whoa.
So the decorations weren't like everything I wanted them to be. My dress. I think the only thing that came through for me was my makeup. Like my makeup artist was on time, had us all beat on time. You know.
Yeah.
My hair appointment got canceled the day before. Which made me miss my nail appointment because then one of my girls gave me her hair appointment, which was the time of my nail appointment.
Yeah.
But I felt like my hair was more important than my nails, so I just put some press-ons on. And I remember being in the chair getting my hair done, and the young lady that was doing my hair was like, I can't believe all of this is happening to you and you're not freaking out. And I was just like so calm.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there's nothing I can do to change what's going on, you know.
Exactly.
And also the show must go on. So why get myself all ramped up and mad and I'm still going to walk down the aisle?
Exactly.
Why do all that? Get angry, waste all the energy, get my blood pressure all high, just to be calm later walking down the aisle. You know?
Exactly.
It made me just think of that, and I just really believe that. Like you said, getting myself right spiritually is the reason why I was able to like stay calm in those situations. Because you know it's a wedding, people be feeling like, oh, I'm gonna freak out regardless. But when you get right with God, it just be like He's going to talk to you throughout the day and tell you, and you're going to talk to Him too. Like, all right, God, this is really upsetting me, but I'm not going to show it. You know, I'm gonna keep it cool, and we're gonna get through this. You know.
And at the end of the day, like you know, you can't rewind it, you can't redo it, you can't control everything. So the best thing to do is keep yourself in a good space. Right. Because it's like if everything around you... Oh, this makes me think about a sermon. When I first like got back into God and like started really reading my Bible for myself. You know, not just going to church and reading what they're telling you, but like I was seeking for myself. Yeah. I remember I came across a sermon from Mike Todd, and it was called Peace Under Pressure. So he was just talking about when there's chaos all around you, you know what I mean, but you still find peace within that chaos. I didn't understand exactly what he meant at first until I really got it, like you know. And I feel like what you just described is like a piece of that, you know what I mean? Because the world, like, the world we live in is chaos.
It's crazy.
It is.
I didn't lose my cool at all. I didn't yell, scream, nothing.
Because it's not going to help.
I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to be on time or not, but whenever I get there is when I get there. Because at the end of the day, it's still going to happen. Yeah. The show's still going to go on, you know?
And everybody's there to see you.
Yeah, I'm not really into getting all angry and yelling and screaming anymore.
No, that's me. And, you know, that bothers some people. Like, being able to hold a peace about you.
Self-control. First of all, it's self-control.
Very much.
First of all, learn that. It's self-control. Once you learn how to control yourself, everything else around you will be controlled.
Absolutely.
You might think, like, oh, this is out of my control. If it's out of your control, then it has absolutely nothing to do with you.
Literally. And there's nothing you can do.
Exactly. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it. There's no point in you losing your self-control about it.
Not at all, because it's just going to make the situation worse. Like, you know how you're in a room full of people and y'all trying to hear one person, but everybody's talking. Yeah. Then there's somebody screaming, talking about, oh, shut up, everybody. Like, the more y'all yell and try to get yourselves under control rather than you just worrying about you be quiet. Then somebody's going to follow suit. And I feel like that's how life works. Like, you yelling and screaming, you're just adding to the chaos rather than being the one person that's being quiet and waiting. And then everybody's going to follow suit.
Yeah.
Okay, so learning how to receive love from your husband.
It was a task because I feel like when I was teaching, I'm not going to say self-love. I'm going to say when I was teaching myself how to love myself. I was teaching myself that I didn't have to be liked and accepted by others.
Right.
You know, so I'm one of them people that I'm fine with you not liking me. I'm fine with you not accepting me. So in the midst of that, like I told you, I didn't care for men. Yeah. So, you know, when me and my husband got together, it was so easy for me to just throw the relationship away. Because I was so content with being alone and being by myself, because that's how secure in myself I was by myself. You know, like, you don't have to be here. Yeah. You know? And and one time he told me, like, you know, like, hey, honey, he sat down and he had a conversation with me. He was like, I really don't like when you say that to me. You know, that hurts my feelings because I want to be here and I want you to want me here. So do you want me here? And I had to get him to understand, like, I do. And I'm learning not to butt stuff, but I needed to get him to understand, like, my perception or why I was saying that. Not that I was right. I was absolutely wrong. You should never tell somebody, you know, you can leave about the littlest things, you know? Yeah. I also wasn't, like, up for disagreements. When you spend so much time by yourself, you don't want to argue. No. You don't want to fight. You don't want nobody to be in your way. When you want to go to the bathroom, you want to go to the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like there was a lot of stuff I had to adjust to with him being around. But I do feel like he definitely taught me how to be accepting of people that loved me. That just telling me that, like, you know, I do not like when you say that to me, you know, because I want to be here and I want you to want me here. So do you want me here? Right. You know? And I had to tell him, like, absolutely. I say that because, you know, I've spent so much time by myself that I don't care to have disagreements with you. And I feel like if we're having the slightest disagreement about who used the last little bit of toothpaste, just you know, leave. You know, it don't even be serious, right? It don't be serious stuff, you know. But he definitely, we had to have that conversation a few times, and I'm like, no, you're absolutely correct, and it's something I will work on. So even though I knew how to love myself and I knew how to be by myself, that isolation, it just I just spent too much time alone that I was too content with not having friends, not having a man, or, you know, I was cool with not being included, you know? Yeah.
And it makes it hard to just step back into the world because I've gone through, like, a period of isolation as well, and, like, I had to look around and be like, oh, I feel bad because I'm kind of being, like, a bad family member or a bad friend, or, you know what I mean? But I know what you mean. It's just when you fall into that peace, like, there's just nothing like that peace that you're okay with being alone. Like, you know, you get used to your own company, you have fun by yourself. Like,
I love it because I'd rather be like that. Well, it's tough, honestly. But I genuinely believe that I'd rather be like that than to be the person out here always have to be with someone, always have to be around people. And don't get me wrong, I felt like I taught myself this while I was still around people. You know, when I was living with people, I didn't feel included. You know, I felt like the burden. So I was spending a lot of time with myself still while I was living with people, you know, while I was feeling excluded from the family events or whatever was going on, you know. So it's just like, when I say by myself, I don't want people to think that I was just like locked up in a house in a room by myself.
Right.
No, I was alone, but I was around people. You know,
because you're like inside yourself.
Exactly. So yeah, he definitely had to work with me on that, and I'm still learning.
Yeah,
I'm still learning. It's a process.
Yeah, and you mentioned something I definitely want you to say on camera that you mentioned off camera was how he's helping you become softer, because a lot of women, I feel like we mess with guys.
We the new niggas.
Yes, girl. We the new niggas with money. Like, we mess with guys that kind of feel in more feminine energy to the point that we have to fulfill the masculine energy, and it's still a thing, you know, to have a masculine man and allow him to do that and kind of drop our guard and be soft and be a woman. You know what I mean? So, like, I liked what you said about that, like how he's helping you be softer.
Yeah. So it goes along with the lines of like opposites of attracting. I felt like my husband was raised in a home where love was there. You know, I wasn't. You know, I was in survival mode. You know, and up until I met him, probably I was in survival mode, because even with my first daughter, I'm still out here surviving. You know, it's just me and her. That's my person. We're surviving. I'm making sure none of this touch her, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm still in survival mode until I met him. And it was like, once, you know, we got together and, you know, he would tell me, like, you know, you don't have to do like that. Do that. And you don't have to be like that. You know, you can relax. You can chill. You can calm down. And I appreciate it, because there's like an old saying that's like, it's like you're attracted to the type of person your father is. You attract the same type of man your father is like, or something like that. And he reminds me of my dad, like how I reminded him of his mom. And because my father will cater to his women. You know, you'll get your feet rubbed and you know, your hair washed or whatever you need. You know what I'm saying? My father is that type of man. And that's how Damon is with me. He caters to me, and he puts us first. And it's not normal, I don't know, for our generation to be so committed to their family and their woman. You know, like, he's gotten clowned by his friends, like, oh, you got a curfew. Or you allowed outside. Or you allowed outside.
They all pull that.
Yeah, because he takes care of his home. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because it takes a lot off my back and a lot off my shoulders, because, like you said, I was that person, you know, going to work, paying all the bills, just doing everything. But it's like, now that I have a man in my life, it takes a load off my back. Now, I can be the woman. You know, I can be soft.
Yes.
You know, I can be spoiled a little bit. You know, I can pour that into my children while he pours it into me, and I pour it back into him. You know what I'm saying? So it is like a opposite attract, and it is like a balance thing. We balance one another out. He do for me and I do for him. You know what I'm saying? It's not just him and me. You know, it's not just him pouring into me, or he's just this big old man with all this masculine energy that just does everything. You know, he's human. He has feelings. He has emotions. He need catered to as well. You know, but I do believe, like, he's made me softer, and it was hard. It's hard going from surviving to loving,
because you never know when it's a safe space. Like, when you've learn how to trust yourself wholeheartedly, 2, are in survival mode, and 3, come from a place where you're being so guarded because you love where you're at with yourself and you want to keep that. It's really, really hard, and men don't understand, like, it's hard to drop that. And I feel like they do understand, but they don't understand it with us because they're used to women kind of like wanting men or wanting to put all these burdens on them. And it's like, no, I'm so used to holding my own and surviving that I don't even want to get used to you doing it, because I'm afraid that if we leave, you know.
Because I'm going to drop this weight. But if I drop this weight, are you going to be able to carry it? You know what I'm saying? Or am I going to get disappointed that I literally let my guard down and put this little 5 pounds on your back and you couldn't hold it?
And you fold it.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I do think, I do believe he's making me softer. He's assisted me with that. And his family helped as well. It's been tough. It's not easy. Healing isn't easy. Like, starting your spiritual journal or going through just spiritual warfare, it's not easy. It's tough. It gets dirty. It gets ugly. You fight with people you love. And when I say fight, I don't mean like physically. Like, you will argue.
Yeah.
You will have disagreements. But as long as it's supposed to be aligned, it will be aligned. It will come back together.
Right. And that's where having faith truly comes in, because that's one of them things where, like, you know, people love to say, let go and let God. Like, that's one of them things that you have to do when you don't know what to do. Right. You know what I mean? So, being in a space like that, you know, like you said, dropping off a load and just trusting, like being able to trust, like, okay, this is going to go well. It takes faith, you know, and then you got to also have the faith that, all right, once I drop this load, will I be able to pick it back up? Because it's harder to pick something back up. So, you know.
It is, and I think that I went through that. Like, with me having my children back to back, they're all 3 years apart, but that still felt like back to back to me, because it take a woman's body up to 1 year to heal.
Yeah.
So you got to think, I'm healing for this 1 year. We're having fun for this year, and then I got pregnant, you know? So, with me having them back to back, like, he spoiled me rotten. You know, I didn't have to lift a finger.
Oh,
I didn't have
that.
to get up in the morning, you know? And it got real bad. So, I, like, wasn't getting out of bed. But then I also felt like postpartum depression started setting in, too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, you ain't just being lazy. You ain't spoiled. You're depressed. You know, you're going through postpartum depression, and we got to get rid of it. You know, I stopped working out. Stop with my business. You know what I'm saying? This goes back to what I was saying about being a business owner and stuff like that. All that just flew out the window. Yeah. You know, and then I had to build myself back up to want it, you know, and it wasn't necessarily because of him. It wasn't because he couldn't hold his load. It was because I was having children and I started going through postpartum, you know. So I'm getting there. Yeah. I'm here.
Right. Right. So, like, how is that? I ask women this all the time when they talk about postpartum, because I'm like, how do you just pull through that? Like, I don't know if it's like any other depression that you really just got to decide, like, all right, I'm tired of this. I'm over this. Like, I got to pull through.
With me, depression runs in my family.
Yeah.
So, a lot of times I found myself in depressive states that I had to pull myself out of. Yeah, so I was surprised when I was going through postpartum depression, because I thought that women who really weren't happy with their children only went through it. Yeah. For me, I loved my children. So I was shocked when I was going through it. When I went through it the first time, I thought maybe it was because of my situation with her father being away and so on and so forth. But then when I went through it the second time, I was just like, why am I going through postpartum? I'm happy. You know, I have this man. He loves me.
So it was on both ends.
Yes. Yeah. Like, you know, so I was just like, and then when I had my third kid and I went through it again, I just was like, okay, so I'm just going to be the one that go through postpartum depression every time. You know, so it was like, you kind of know what you need to do. After you go through something so many times, you kind of know what you need to do. It's when you know, it's getting the energy, it's getting the strength, it's like taking your power back. Like, all right, you laid around long enough, you didn't shower long enough, you know,
right.
You didn't leave the house long enough, and sometimes you really have to push yourself to do things, to be around people. It falls back on having the support system too, you know. Like, my husband's mom knew when I was going through it. I shut down. I won't answer calls, texts. I won't be on social media. I shut down so bad. So, she knew the third time. She knew, and his sister, our sister-in-law, knew too. Like, his brother's wife knew too. And I remember her texting me like, "Hey, I haven't heard from you in so long. You know, I haven't seen you on social media or anything. Like, you know, is everything okay?" And I didn't even respond. Yeah. But when they started checking up on me, I was like, all right, you got to get it together. Yeah. You know.
What's that? Other people see it now.
Right. It wasn't even for me. It was for them. Yeah. And it was for my children. Because I wasn't getting out of bed. You know. So my husband was dealing with that. You know, he was getting them up for school, getting them ready, doing hair. You know, he was doing what he could. And it was like, not what I would do, but it was good enough, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, all right, you know. I remember my grandmother even saying it to me one time I came to church, and we looked presentable, like how I would do us. And she was all like, I knew you was feeling better when you got their hair done.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, I was like, don't do me. She was all like, no, it's hard. I know that postpartum depression ain't no joke. It really isn't. It really isn't. So it's definitely. It's tough, but you have to decide like when you're going to take your power back.
Like
it's
when
not easy. Going through any depression or just anything mentally, it's not easy. But you have to definitely decide when you're going to take it back. Mm-hmm. You have to really, even when you don't have no support, even if you're all you have to do it. Mm-hmm. You have to want it for you.
Very much.
You have to want to feel better, look better, do better. Because I know a lot of times when people are going through things mentally, they're not doing their hair. They're not doing their makeup. They're not showing up as themselves because they can't. They don't have the energy.
Yes.
Exactly. So it's just like you have to want it for you. Mm-hmm. And it's not all about appearance, but when you look good, you feel good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. And you can tell like when someone's not feeling up to it because like you said, it's an energy thing. Mm-hmm. So it's like you might be gaining weight or you're losing weight because you're not really eating the way you used to. You're not, like you said, working out or doing your hair. And that always raises red flags because something is always wrong because it's a change. Yeah. So like you said, it's not about being cute. It's just about like, oh, you're not being yourself, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's tough, though.
Oh, I'm not looking forward.
You just pray.
I was just about to say, but thank God I have God.
You definitely pray.
Yeah.
Pray. Worship music always get me through anything I'm feeling. Like, I just turn it on and I just go in that mode. Like, I don't hear nobody. I don't see nobody. The kids could just be jumping all over the furniture and it's just like, whatever. You know, like, I just hop in that mode with the worship music.
Yes.
I just feel like upbeat things. That's another thing with getting through mental illnesses or just anything like that. You have to filter everything. Mm-hmm. It's not just, oh, I had a kid and now I'm going through postpartum depression, but what are you eating? Yeah. What are you watching? Mm-hmm. Who are you surrounding yourself around? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. What are you listening to? You have to literally be in a state where you're doing everything to uplift you. Yes. Your music must be uplifting. Your friends must be uplifting. Your family must be uplifting. Mm-hmm. You have to tell yourself like the affirmations every day, like, I love myself. Absolutely. I am getting better. I am, you know what I'm saying? You have to tell yourself that.
Like, I'm trying. I'm putting effort into this because we as women, I can't really speak for men, but I know as women, we have such high standards for ourselves. Not only because of us, but because of the world. You know, eyes are always on us as women. Like, we're expected to look good. We're expected to be nice. We're expected to smile and be happy and, you know, do everything we need to do and make it look good. So, like, we then adopt that and we give such high standards to ourselves. So, it's like, I think whenever we feel like we're falling short, we can be doing literally the best that we can possibly do at the time. And if we're like 50% or 75%, it feels just as bad as being 10%. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's something that's tough to just work through too. It's just like knowing that you're not going to have 100% day every day. All the time, yeah. That's like you're not going to ace it every single time.
Slow progress is better than no progress, and I always tell myself that slow progress is better than no progress.
Absolutely, because there's nothing worse than a year going by and you're in the same place
because you did nothing. Because you did nothing.
Yep, and then you might have tricked yourself into thinking that you did something, but you knew you weren't putting any effort into it. So, like, you kept yourself busy, but then a year goes by and you're in the same place.
And what they used to tell us, frick, excuses are symbols of nothingness. They built bridges to nowhere.
Girl, nowhere. Why did Gabby come on here and say that to you? She quoted the whole thing.
That's all I remember. Excuses are symbols of nothingness. They built bridges to nowhere.
People and those who use those are masters of nothing.
Yeah. I'm telling you, we learned that in school. Yep. I guarantee you, everybody that went to frick is doing something with themselves. Yep. Mm-hmm. They doing something with themselves, and they know that. Because we know.
Because it's the truth. And it's funny because when I went to college, I joined an organization where that was also something that we practiced. Like, we were taught that excuses. Like, no excuses. And I tell myself that all the time. You know what I mean? Because I'm such a hard worker. I'm always pushing through something. So I'll give myself the leniency, like, oh, well, I worked real hard yesterday, so it's okay that I'm 7:30 today. No, it's not. Yeah. Because if you're not where you want to be, and it's not about killing yourself, you have to balance it and give yourself rest and stuff like that. But if you're not where you want to be, why would you let up? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't.
You gotta go hard.
You got to.
You got to go hard, whatever that looks like to you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, whatever going hard looks like to you, you got to go hard.
Don't adopt someone else's going hard.
Exactly.
Don't do that, because it's not going to work for you and your purpose. It's not. You know?
And everyone's purpose is different.
Very.
Everyone's pain is different. Like we were just saying earlier, everybody's perception is different.
Yeah.
So everyone's pain is different.
Very.
But we all have a purpose. And in order for you to adapt yours, you have to walk in your light, walk in your truth, and be authentically you.
Very much.
On your good days, on your bad days. We all have highs, we all have lows.
Yes.
Right?
It's natural.
Exactly.
And it's okay to be natural.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because my hair is not always done.
Girl.
I don't like it in my hair done. I'm tender-headed. I know that's right. Don't play with it, don't play with it, don't play with it. My hair is not always done. Makeup is not always done. I'm tender-headed. I don't even like getting my hair done.
I love getting my hair done. That's funny.
I don't even like getting my nails done because the little cuticle thing, I don't like the cuticle part.
I don't like that either.
Yep.
I don't.
Yep.
But I feel you. Like, and sometimes I feel better about myself. You ever had them days where you're like 100% natural and you're like, oh, I really look good like this? Like, I feel better about myself when I come outside not made up, hair.
Free.
Yes,
you
free.
Feel free.
And it's your natural beauty. There's no better like way to feel beautiful than your natural beauty.
It makes me think of like back in the day. Like you ever hear older people talk and be like, oh yeah, so-and-so from back in the day, she was just pretty as hell. Like natural hair, natural this, natural that. It makes me think of like that. Like when our generation get older, I hope somebody talk about me like that. Like, she was just naturally pretty. Like just bad as hell natural. You know, that's what, when I'm natural, that's what it makes me think of. Like,
because that's what's real. That's the real you. Like, You had said something about when you were on the Freedom Experience, like, you know, I had to pull my hair back and I had no makeup on their lashes. I thought you looked so beautiful when I made it.
You know what? My husband was like, your skin was glowing, boo.
Yes, you look so pretty. I hated that.
Look, the only thing I had done was my nails. Shout out to Aaliyah Ray, because she had got me right. Only thing I had done was my nails. I did not like, I don't show up like that. You know what I'm saying? That's not me. But if anybody could tell, I was genuinely going through postpartum depression. Yeah. And I pushed myself to do that because Marcel is a really great person with really great energy. I needed to be around that at the time. You know, we needed to, it was like, honestly, it was like therapy for me. You know, Yusuf was there. He is an amazing person as well with amazing energy. So I pushed myself to get out of bed. You seen what I had on? Look at me now compared to them. You know what I'm saying?
But you still look beautiful. And
genuinely, I did. Yeah. I did. But when it's time for me to show up for appearances and the camera's going to be there, I'm usually on point. And I just did not feel good. And you could tell. You know, I looked good. I was natural. It was my natural hair. No makeup, no lashes, nothing. But I just I wasn't in a good mind space. Yeah. But I was happy I went because, like I said, he pulled things out of me that helped with my healing.
Right. And there's people who are going to need to see that, you know? So
and that's why I did it. Like, that was authentically me, speaking from a place of pain, a place of hurt, while I'm still trying to heal, you know?
Yeah, and that's needed. Like, that's needed for a lot of people, I swear. So, generally speaking, you know, I always want for the audience to have takeaways from our show. I just hope that, you know, you guys took a lot from this. And I just want your perception, you know, for the girls, like women who did have a hard time receiving love, who might not have grown up with love. Like, what would you say to them as far as, like, softening and being receptive?
So, I would say the energy that you're pouring into other people, or that you're chasing other people down for, or that you're just giving others, instill that into you, whatever it may look like. You know, instead of you stalking somebody, stalk yourself. Stalk yourself.
Right.
Instead of you chasing him, chase you. You know, it starts with you.
Or chase him.
Yeah, honestly, because that's where it starts. You really have to put God first. And everything will fall into place after that. But you can't be good. You can't be like, oh God, send me this man. Like, send me this man. You're not going to get what your heart desires until you're in place to get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you have to put you first. Put you first instill all that energy that you're instilling into others inside of you. Like she said, pray for God first, then and what else did you say?
What?
What was the question?
About receiving love. Like, just like being open to being soft and being receptive and
at the end of the day, misery loves company.
Mm-hmm.
And like I told you, just because I loved myself doesn't mean I was happy.
Yeah.
You can love you and you could be the most evilest person in the world. You know what I'm saying?
Very much.
In order for you to be able to receive love, you have to be open to accepting it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be open to accepting it from people you may not even want it from.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not speaking in heterosexual relationships. I'm speaking in terms like your friends may be your sisters.
Yeah.
Your friends may be your brothers. You understand what I'm saying? You have to be open to allowing them to love on you because your biological siblings weren't capable of doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So in order to receive that, the love you craved from siblings, parents, relatives, just anybody, you have to be open to receiving it from those who are willing to give it to you. Yeah,
and also with that, being open to giving it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like the kind of love that you strive for, the kind of love that you are craving. Be open to giving that to people. And like you said, being open to receiving it from people you may not even want it from, or you may not think you want it from. Also be open to giving it to those people.
Exactly.
Like love on people who you see needed the most, which are going to be the people that are hard to love. You
Exactly.
know?
So, you definitely have to give love to get it. It's It's like a and remove anyone that's not reciprocating the energy. You know, like you have to get rid of people like that. Like I've said before earlier, you have to surround yourself around like-minded people, people that are healing or healed already, people that are spiritual or just learning. You know, a lot of us are new to spiritual journeys. People been in church all their life, was never spiritual. There's a difference between spiritual and being religious. You know, understand what I'm saying? So
I like to call it like that relationship with religion. I mean, relationship over religion.
Exactly.
For sure.
Exactly. And I'm heavy on the spiritual. Spiritual is like, it matters most.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So you definitely got to surround yourself around like-minded people. And I feel like if you want to be soft, you'll get soft. You get what you want. You know? If you want to be soft, you'll get soft.
And even, I'm happy you brought up the spiritual thing too, because like you said, being able to receive, being able to give, I feel like if you do take the time to create a relationship with God first and be able to receive that love from like the Holy Spirit and be able to give genuine love, be able to tell the truth, like even that may not be another human that's sitting next to you and you spilling out your truth, if you create a relationship with God and you're able to say these things out loud that you ignore, you know, and be honest and allow him to receive you being honest, you'll be able to receive that honest feeling back. You know what I mean? I feel like that's the first relationship that you have to be 100% open in and teaching yourself how to love and receive love back.
Absolutely, because everything after that is organic.
Yes.
Everything just falls into place after that. You naturally allow yourself to let people in after that because you trust that God is sending you these people.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I was saying about my friends. Like, it was so weird. I went through something so tragic and so public in my life, and I felt like I had lost all my friends.
Yeah.
God removed the negative people out of my life and replaced them with more positive people that were going to pour into me and tell me, like, you know better than this, and you should be doing this and not that, and we're spending more time doing more positive things within ourselves and the community. You understand what I'm saying? So it goes with that. Like, when you get right with God will send you your people and send you everything that's meant for you in the right time. But you have to get yourself ready for it. He's not going to bless. God don't bless no mess. God do not bless no mess.
That is so true, and he won't create mess either.
Exactly.
Like, I remember there was a point in time when I finally like completely fell into God, and I'm like, you know what, I want to make sure that I, like you said, clean up around me. I want to bring everybody around me that is in the same space that I'm in or further when it comes to, you know, this relationship with God. So I had got to a space where I was like reaching out to people who I really thought were like into it, who I thought were really like spiritually aligned, and I was being disappointed because I kind of felt rejected.
Yeah.
Like I felt like, oh well, you know what I mean, I'm reaching out to you because I know that you read the Bible, I know that you go to church and stuff like that, so I feel like we can relate on this level, and like I was kind of being rejected. Then come to find out, God always reveals, you know what I mean? It, like you said, getting on platforms like preaching but not really practicing what you preach. So I was able to see that, like, oh, okay, I'm not being rejected or ignored. God is just not letting me, you know, fall into no trap. Exactly. Like, just because somebody's saying that, just because somebody might go to church or do this or do that, doesn't mean that that's who needs to be in your life. So organically, you know, as I just worried about myself, make sure I kept seeking, kept growing, like, people just started to surround me that I really needed. You know what I mean? And that all comes into the faith and the trust and being open and receiving and giving, honestly.
It's like that post I always see on Facebook. He blocked it because it was for your protection.
Yes, yes. And once you start to believe that and really trust that, it's easy. You be like, all right, cool, like that wasn't for me.
You really be fine with things not working out the way you wanted them to because you genuinely believe like everything happens for a reason type of person. You know what I'm saying? So when things don't work out the way I wanted them to, it's because I know he has a bigger and better plan for me. Whether it be a job or a school or just anything, business plans, business ideas. I've been rebranding for so long. I've been ready to pop back out and drop for so long, but then stuff always happen. And I'd be like, you know what? This happened for a reason. And I'm so happy I didn't, you know, pop back out and rebrand and, you know, stuff like that. Yep.
So, yeah. At the end of the day, because to wrap everything up into one, like, you know, we're talking about love and receiving and giving real love genuinely, regardless of what we expect it to be, what we think it should be. I feel like it all just boils down to that. Like, love you first.
Absolutely.
There's no way to get away from that. Like, no matter what kind of love we're talking about, always got to be you first. Whether it's being a mother, you got to love you first so that you can be full to give to them children. Being a wife, you got to be full so you can give to your husband. Being just a human, you got to be full so you can be there for yourself and trust yourself and build that relationship. You know what I mean? So, love you first.
Absolutely. For surely love you first. And make everything about you. You know, if you're ever wondering what someone else is doing or why someone else is doing this like that, put yourself in that situation or put yourself in that question. You know, instead of why SHAKEL, why me? Why am I doing this? You know what I'm saying? Why her? Why you?
Exactly.
And then everything will fall into place after that.
Exactly.
But like I said before, you genuinely have to focus on yourself until the focus is yourself.
That's
just basically what it is at the end of the day.
Very much.
I really live that at.
I did too. It's always inner. Inner is always going to shine outer. And that's just what it is. So I want to thank you again for coming on this show. I loved our conversation. It was so good.
To come back.
Yes,
do
for
a special guest appearance.
For sure. Now I've been thinking to myself, like, I love the guests that I had. Like, I didn't even plan for this show to be like a show that I have guests on. I was supposed to just go different places, try different wines, and have like conversation about real life topics by myself. And then I had a guest and I loved it. I'm like, I have to bring people so I can get other perspectives.
Like, go to a winery and stuff.
For sure.
And talk.
For sure.
I feel like our conversations still lead to other conversations.
Absolutely,
you know
it does.
So that's nice.
I want to have a reunion. I feel like I had such amazing people on this season, and I want to bring everybody together.
That'll be lit because I know you're still associated to a lot of people that went to middle school with us. So I would love to be around them. I haven't seen a lot of them. I follow them on social media. But I haven't like physically been around them. And to like enjoy their presence and stuff in so long.
And really talk and be adults. Like, I was just telling Steph, like, I love being around people from my childhood and us being at our big old age. Like, we're just growing and maturing, and it just feels good to be like, I really watched you grow. Like,
I be saying that about me. I be wondering what people's perception of me was from middle school because I always thought I was like this angry girl.
Really?
Yeah. I felt like I fought a lot.
You want to know something? I remember after middle school, I remember seeing you. I think we were in high school still. I saw you at a bus station, and we had like a brief little talk, and your energy was just so different to me, and I'm like, she's changing.
Yeah.
I could tell that she was like growing up, and I could tell that we were growing up. You know what I mean? Because our interaction was just like, okay, you know what I mean? Like, we're older. You can tell that we're experiencing new things in life, and like, it's just different. Like, life has just carried us so far, and it's just so nice to see people happy, doing well. Even if we're not in the best position ever, it's just good to see people like thriving and growing and trying, you know what I mean, like taking those steps. I just love that for us.
Outside of the school aspect,
exactly,
like
in
being
real life,
adults, like we don't go home. Like we knew in school, like oh, she's going home to her parents, her mom and dad, her family. But it's like now we're grown. She's going to her own house, with her own family, possibly.
Yes, you know? Literally with her own family. Swear,
I love to see it, especially when they're happy and healthy.
Yes, and doing well. Like
I love to see it.
It's rewarding because you're like, oh, cool. Like we doing good. We good.
Like Fletcher. I always brag on him. I went to school with him.
Yes. And shout out to Fletcher. So I love watching him on social media.
I feel like I went to school with him.
He's doing so good. He looks so happy.
I'm so proud of him.
And he's
a prime example of walking in your truth, your purpose, being authentically yourself, genuinely, like just being yourself.
For sure. He's always been so sweet too. So I'm like, I love seeing people who deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, dang, you've always been an amazing person. You deserve all that. And he does. He deserves all that, I swear.
He does.
Well, let's do our last little cheers. And let people know where they can find you out on social media, even though I'm sure they already follow you.
I'm at Missbehave on Instagram with an underscore. That's MISSBEHAVE with an underscore. And I think my name on Facebook is like Pretty SHAKEL. And that's where you can locate me.
And y'all know where to follow me at Malaya J, all things mod, Abby Lux Life. So thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of Wind Down Wednesday. I hope y'all loved it. We love you guys. And make sure you share, comment, like, subscribe.
And I'll be back.
Yes, absolutely. Thank y'all for tuning in. Bye.